Hello everybody, welcome back to the start of a brand new series. This is Bohemian Killing, a game by the Moonwalls, published by IQ Publishing. The idea was actually to just have this as a showcase, but I looked into it and I thought, you know what, this is sounds like really interesting. And I decided to turn it into a Let's Play. I don't know how long the game is, so it might be a mini-series, but you know. Anyway, what is this story about? Paris, 1894. Class differences and pervasive racism finally led to a tragedy. A year later, you find yourself on trial, accused of a brutal murder. How far will you go to exonerate yourself? Will you lie, manipulate the evidence, frame others, act insane, confess? Your imagination is the limit. So apparently most of this will take place in a courtroom. I'm not entirely sure myself, but what I do know is apparently there's a multitude of ways to quote-unquote win. Combining that with, it being something completely different from what I usually do, I thought, you know what, this might be interesting. Anyway, let's go. I'm using a controller because I can. There is innate controller support, so I'm assuming everything's working as intended. This is a blind playthrough. I only started the game, looked at the options, set it to a manner that is easy for me to record, and that is it. That is all I have done. So, let's play, I guess. Yeah, there's no continue. New game. Game that choices you make, each lie can change the verdict for better or worse. Well, let's see. Paris. Remember, during testimony, you're not creating history, you're lying about what has already happened. In Bohemian Killing, there are hundreds of possibilities. You can frame other people, lie, manipulate evidence and witnesses, plead guilty, or even act insane. Right? You're not creating history, you're lying about what already happened. Okay.
She should be here by now. Yeah. So let's get started.
X to throw your dagger. Oh, so you're actually meant to kill. I think I'm gonna play this with keyboard and mouse. Actually, controllers, there's like an input lag. Yeah, and it's... Can I change controllers? Whoop, wrong button there. Alright, so keyboard and mouse it is. Palais de Justice. We're already in the courtroom, huh?
Bienvenue, messieurs. We are all present, so we can begin. Monsieur Eaton, please continue your testimony from the moment you landed yesterday.
Anyway.
She should be here by now.
T to check the time. Ugh, I need to set another thing now. Oh my god. Alright, now we're good to go. So what's the time anyway?
So let's get started.
So what's the time? I was looking at the inscription, so it's a 11:15. Okay. We've got some blood over here. Read a book. In-game time runs in like in real life. It's important to arrange a reliable testimony. So that means it should now be, yeah, half to midnight. Closed. Closed. Closed.
Monsieur Eaton. Monsieur Eaton.
So we know we're actually guilty.
Monsieur Eaton, I'm talking to you.
I'm sorry, Monsieur le Président. I was thinking.
Do you understand the indictment?
Sorry, but I have to ask the prosecutor to repeat.
Monsieur Eaton, do you consider it to be a joke? You're charged with a serious crime. Please stay focused. Monsieur Prosecutor, please continue.
As I said, I accuse Alfred Eaton of murdering Marie Capet on the 17th of October 1894 in Paris. That day, Alfred Eaton was at the theatrical premiere of Prométhée, Vol du Feu, which took place at Opéra Garnier. As it is apparent from the testimony of witnesses, the accused left at about 8:30 p.m., before the end of the banquet. At about 9:25 p.m., he rented a room in his name at the Caucasus Hotel, which is adjacent to the building in which he lives. It was in that room that approximately at 11:16 p.m., Marie Capet was murdered. Next, the accused returned to his house, and at about 10:05 p.m., he entered his apartment in the company of Marie Capet, or let her in. It results from the fingerprint analysis. It did not show the victim's fingerprints on the outer side of the door, only on the inner. Alfred Eaton, by means of deception or threats, led the victim to his secret workshop, which is located on the first floor of his apartment. The police report did not indicate any signs of struggle or resistance. The accused probably wanted to test on Marie Capet the prototype of a torture machine of his construction, which was in the room along with medical tools and manuals of torture. When Marie Capet realized what the accused intended to do, she grabbed a metal rod lying in the room and hit the accused on the head, which caused a real threat to his life and, according to doctors, may have caused unconsciousness. The fingerprints of Marie Capet's left hand were found on the rod, as well as Alfred Eaton's traces of blood. Traces of blood were also found on the floor of that room. At the time of his arrest, the accused had an extensive wound on his head, as confirmed by medical examination. Seizing the opportunity, Marie Capet fled from the apartment. She was stressed and in a hurry. This was confirmed by her numerous fingerprints secured on the inside of the door of the apartment of the accused. Then, Marie Capet ran into a nearby hotel, the Caucasus. It was the same hotel in which the accused rented a room. As it appears from the testimony of the clerk, Marie Capet was extremely stressed, repeating the word doctor and police. Probably she wanted to call for help. When the clerk went to get some water to calm Marie Capet, she disappeared. The next day, on the 18th of October, about 8:32 a.m., a maid found her body in a room rented by Alfred Eaton. It was covered with numerous fingerprints of the victim and of the accused, and had traces of the victim's blood. The immediate cause of death was a severe blow to the abdomen in the liver area, with a blade of about 14 centimeters length. The murder weapon, constructed by the accused, was secured in his apartment. Marie Capet's unwashed blood stains were still present on it, as well as the fingerprints of the accused. The accused is also charged by the testimony of one of the neighbors who passed the accused at the front door of the building in which they both lived at about 11:30 p.m. The witness testified that the clothing of the accused was stained with blood. Unfortunately, the said clothes were not found. At the time of committing the alleged crime, the accused was sane, which means he acted consciously. For committed crimes, the accused shall be liable to life imprisonment or the death penalty.
Has the accused finally understood the indictment?
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Does the accused plead guilty to the charges against him?
Non, Monsieur le Président.
Does the accused want to provide explanations?
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Monsieur le Président, could I ask you for some conversation time with my client?
Of course. I just wish it would not take too much time. We've already wasted too much of it.
Monsieur Eaton, please note that you can look through evidence at any moment. It is available by pressing tab. I will show the defense evidence to the court at the time of your uncovering during the testimony. It might surprise the prosecutor. If necessary, you can recall the string of events according to the prosecution by pressing the Q key. Will you need my help during testimony? I will give you my advice and remind you of important facts and events. We are ready, Monsieur le Président.
Then let's get started. Monsieur Eaton, what were you doing on October 17th, 1894, from 8 to 12 p.m.?
There was a theatrical premiere of Prométhée that day, which was sponsored by Le Feu, in which I am the lead designer. Starting at 7 p.m., I was at the premiere at the Opéra Garnier. Around 8:30 p.m., after the play, I found that I did not want to attend the dull banquet, and instead I preferred to work. I said goodbye to Hugo Argent, president of Le Feu, and I drove home. I got there at about 9 p.m.
It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? I'm not fully understanding the entire story, but I'm guessing that's going to come later on.
For a moment, I admired the charming streets of Montmartre.
So this is where we make our testimony then. That's kind of cool.
I decided to go for an evening walk.
Into a bar. What the hell?
I entered the Café de Paris cafeteria. I wanted to drink some good wine and eat a piece of cheese. A group of Parisian rabble tried to throw me out, screaming that there was no room for gypsy thieves. They beat me and threw me into the street. I was all covered in blood.
Did you report this fact to police officers?
No, Monsieur le Président. I decided that it was not worth losing my time.
And why is that?
A second of my work is more important than the lifetime of each and every one of those plebeians. Besides, if I had reported it, I would have done them a favor.
What do you mean, Monsieur Eaton?
In jail, they would have had better living conditions than those holes that they call houses.
I understand. Please return to your testimony.
Okay, so we're making a story up as we go then. Let's look at some of this stuff actually. Ethan's dagger and murder weapon designed and manufactured by Ethan, so unique, found in the secret workshop of the accused. Unwashed traces of blood were found on it, as well as Ethan's fingerprints. Found Alfred Ethan. So we're playing as Alfred Ethan then. Probably part of some sort of invention. Trace of blood belonging to the accused, which is us. And fingerprints of Marie Capet, that's the one we killed, allegedly. And were found on the rod. Victims found in the room come in about 8:32 p.m. Clean the room. Form clip. It's gonna be a lot of reading, I think. At least start. Victim was not missing anything. The murder weapon was secured in the apartment of the accused. Attached to the blood traces were found on the belongings of the accused. Right. Blood traces found on the belongings of the accused on the floor of the secret workshop in his apartment. A metal rod was secured, which probably served as the accused. No traces of victim blood in the apartment. No signs of struggle or resistance in other parts of the apartment. Fingerprints found in the room of the hotel on the murder weapon. Yeah. Ah, shoot. Give me a sec. Man. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so this is where we were at, right? On the inner side of the door of the apartment. Number may indicate the victim acted in high stress or shock and had trouble opening the door. Several strong blows with a knife in the liver. Immediate cause of death, exsanguination. I guess that just means bleeding to death, right? No other injuries or trace of violence. Death occurred between 11 and 11:20. Well, technically we were later than that. It was 11:30 when we actually did go in. It's found on the accused's heads and severe concussion and moment of detention. A lot of evidence against us, isn't there? Showing mental disorder, the accused, impulsive personality, high degree of creativity, ambition, and action. Okay. Interrogation clearly failed use of pain inflicting interrogation. Found a secret workshop. Top floor of the apartment is rented. Tell them they had a murder. He's stress-free. Probably wants to cough for close water. She'll be gone. Witness was leaving the building in which he lived and passed the accused in the door. Who was entering the building? So it already doesn't make sense. Here it says we went in at 11:30, but apparently death was caused at that point as well. Capable but not very attentive student. I don't think we need this. Alright, let's carry on.
For a moment, I admired the charming streets of Montmartre.
Hotel. I think that's the hotel we need to go to. Restaurant. Can we go in? Yeah, we can. Let's keep going, actually.
For a moment, I admired the charming I do not recall that one.
Oh, okay, so we can actually go there. Okay.
I looked at slogans written by the rabble. They incited to the... I read cultural announcements.
Okay. Guy's a bit full of himself, isn't he?
I noticed an advertisement for a play sponsored by my company. The premiere had taken...
Well, let's go in then.
I opened the door and walked into the Caucasus Hotel. I opened the door to the phone room.
What? You can buy bacon, eggs, fish, apple, tomato, and cheese. Let's buy some cheese.
I bought a few things from my vending machine. I looked through an advertisement of a company offering blimp tours over Paris.
I suppose while we're at the start, we may as well do as much as we can, see what we can do with that later on.
I spent a few minutes talking on the phone.
Can we, yeah, check time. So if you can spend like 3 hours here, then you can pretty much rule out that we've...
I tried to open the door to the restaurant, but it was closed because of the late hour.
Dude, it's like 9. People still serve food at 9. It's generally frowned upon, but...
I threw a coin into the fountain of the hotel lobby.
Rent a room, explain why you did it.
Apparently, the clerk noticed my state, but the rules of savoir-vivre did not let him make any commentary. I wanted to rent a room in a hotel, but the clerk said that a room had already been rented in my name. He said it's on the top floor, and gave me a spare key. I must add that the conversation with this man was not held at about 9:25 p.m., as according to his testimony, but at a different time.
Monsieur Eaton, do you claim that you did not rent that room?
Oui, Monsieur le Président. But I knew it could not be a coincidence. The name Ethan is not that common.
So you tried to learn more from the clerk?
Yes, however, he hid behind his professional secrecy. I knew he wouldn't tell me a thing.
I do not understand one more thing. You live next to the hotel, so why did you want to rent a room there?
Sometimes I meet up with some girls of the Moulin Rouge, and due to my reputation, I prefer not to do it in my apartment.
Did you meet Marie Capet face to face?
No, Monsieur le Président, never.
I understand. Please continue.
Professionalism, but he immediately does give me a spare key. Alright. So what time is this on? Can we find the testimony of the room? Guest book. Can we zoom in on that? I suppose we can. No, it doesn't. Oh, about 9:25. It's about 9:25, isn't it? 9:15.
I looked at the plate with the logo of a nearby hotel.
Well, yeah.
Then I opened the elevator grate.
Let's go to the top floor immediately.
I took the elevator to the second floor.
If you're gonna lie, not every bit of testimony can be false as well. You gotta put in a few truths to make it sound legit, you know?
Then I opened the elevator grate.
I looked at a lamp. Cool painting, though. What do we got here?
For a moment, I admired the images showing the beauty of Paris.
Yep. So where are the rooms at, then? Probably through here, I guess. Fancy digs, though.
I looked up at the impressive dome in the hotel lobby.
An important event is approaching. Press Q to get acquainted with it. Event. The accused rented a room on his name in the hotel, which is adjacent to the building in which he lives. It was in that room, approximately 11:16. So it needs to be like 21:25 in order to actually make it sound legit, or be sooner or a lot later. To say you never rented a room would be foolish. It would be best to justify you rented a room and then explain to the court why you didn't. At this time, meetings with a good alibi, but you can also further investigate this alleged renting and try to prove that someone else did it. Maybe the guest book will be helpful. Okay, let's see if we can find that. Which I assume would be at the bottom floor, wouldn't it?
I opened the elevator grate. I took the elevator to the ground floor.
I got squished by the other. No, I'm just kidding. This isn't really what I expect for a game. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I hope you guys dig it as well. So the guest book should be around here somewhere then.
I opened the elevator grate.
It's right there, isn't it?
I wanted to check the guest book, but I couldn't do that with the clerk nearby.
Maybe I can call him away. What would get a clerk out of his room? There we go.
I wanted to learn something about that hotel room, allegedly rented by me. I dialed the front desk and asked a staff member to check something in the backyard. I had a moment to look inside the guest book. I checked the guest book. There was my surname and a signature which I recognized immediately. It was the signature of my father.
Defensive errors number 1. If you're covered in blood, you can wash it off by taking a bath or changing your clothes. If you're drunk, it will pass spontaneously after a few moments.
Monsieur le Président, the evidence mentioned by my client has already been presented by the prosecutor. But I must add that we commissioned the handwriting expert. This is the proof marked with number 1. It states that the signature appearing in the hotel guest book really belongs to Antoine Eaton, father of the accused.
Then Monsieur Antoine Eaton will be re-examined as a witness. The hearing will take place at the next trial. I ask to duly summon the witness. The accused can return to his testimony.
Cool. Alright, well I think I'm going to cut it here for this first episode. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you're going to be enjoying the series as much as I probably will. Looks like a pretty interesting game. You can, being the guilty party in a trial or something you generally don't do. Usually you're the one accusing them. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you're still enjoying the series. Feel free to support by commenting, liking, and something if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye everyone.